What is going on, everybody? Six Fig Stock Trader here from YouTube, and we are going to be talking about the crypto markets. Just get with me 1 second, or I'm just going to be 1 second here. Bear with me. Here we go. Just getting some stuff set up. Okay, there we go. Just take a quick peek at these comments rolling in. What's up, Chitan? Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name right. Let's just see what we got going on here. Does anybody have any cryptos that they want me to take a peek at as far as the charts go? I can go through a few. Let's see, please smash that like button as well. So bear with me 1 second here. Just kind of going through a few last second things. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Just going to let some people trickle in. So if you have any cryptos that you want me to just take a quick peek at, just feel free to drop those down in the chat section here, and I will do that. So let's see what's going on. Algorand. Okay. Yeah, we can look at that one. Algo. There we go. DRM. Okay, we will look at DRM next if it is available on these charts. So it looks like with Algo, bear with me. I'm going to look at see where this thing's at on a daily chart. Okay. So I think that Algo definitely has a good chance at maybe kind of coming back up to this $1.30-ish level. Right now, I do think that the price action is too far away from this Ichimoku cloud. I do think that there is going to be some sort of possible bounce over the next few days, week, to get back a little bit closer to the cloud. I'm hoping. But we can see the last time this thing had a very nasty kind of sell-off was back in here. Even up here for that matter. You can just kind of see, folks, the distance from price action to the cloud. It's something that really, is something to pay attention to. Now, there was a death cross on the daily chart for Algo. If you guys have seen my video I did a little bit, a couple weeks ago on death crosses, it's just mainly two types of death crosses. This one, the death cross happened, and it looks like most of the damage could possibly be over for now. So at this point, there might be some sort of recovery that does happen here, or at least short term. Like right here, for example, it death crossed on the daily chart, and we can see that, price action reversed, rallied, kind of triple bottomed here before it made this incredible move upwards. So hopefully that is the type of recovery we will see here with Algorand. I want to just go ahead and do one other thing here. Let's just go ahead and throw up some Fibonacci retracements. And so, when we measure this low here to this high here, we can see that the 127 is right down by where price action is currently trading. So the 127 is a very important Fibonacci retracement and extension point when we're looking for like reversals, stuff like that. The next low is the 161.8, which would be about 29 cents. So we'd be looking at a 60% decrease from here if this thing decides to go down to the 161.8, which I don't think that we will really see that happen. Now, if we go ahead and look at this on a grander scale, we can really see how this 786 right down right down around 68 cents seems to be a solid floor for algo. And I do think that if we see this corrective wave continue, we may see price end up at about 68 cents for Algorand. Now, I do think that if things can kind of reverse from here, uh, maybe this $1.15-ish level may be something to take a peek at. So bear with me 1 second, folks. I'm just going to throw up an extension here. So we can see that right around this $1.15-ish area, we have the 382. Okay, that is not the strongest fib level. So keep that in mind. And I do think that this 50% level will pose much more problems for Algorand if we can get above this $1.15-ish level. The one thing I like about this right now is that we do have a very narrow Ichimoku cloud here. So we might be able to bounce price action through it quite easily, something like that. So I'm going to look at the comments here. Let's look at DRM. Like I said, it might be too new where TradingView, TradingView just hasn't picked up on DRM yet. So unfortunately, we cannot do that one. Let's see, but we can do Luna. Yeah, and as far as the Daruma DAO, that is on Nervos Network. I don't know much about it, but I do know that it has taken some significant losses lately from like 400 down to like 100 and something. I haven't participated in it at all. So that is where I stand on this. Bear with me 1 second, folks. I'm just kind of looking off to the side here, just making sure everything's running smoothly. Okay, so we got Luna. So Luna, you can see is starting to spill. I think I did some TA on this. I think I was able to determine that Luna may or may not be in some sort of Gartley pattern, something like that. But there is definitely a head and shoulders pattern that formed with this one. So we can see this quite nicely. And so this is what's going on with Luna right now. Is this thing is really, really suffering to the downside. I did put out a video on Luna, I don't know, last week, somewhere in there on Luna exclusively. But yeah, we can see that Luna, is retesting this 200 moving average on the daily chart. It's really kind of fallen through this 50 moving average and this Ichimoku cloud on the daily. So that is a very bad thing to have happen. I'm interested to see where we might see this thing go. Okay, so yeah, right around this $50-ish level, if this thing cannot hold this $50 66-cent level, I do think that we're going to be heading on our way down to $35. I almost said 35 cents. So yeah, $35 might be a sweet spot for Luna if it cannot hold this $50 range. Now, the one thing that I'm looking at here, especially in this RSI, is that there is somewhat of a falling wedge that is kind of formed here. We can see this quite easy by just throwing up some trend lines. So what this is telling me is that we are likely to see price action break out sometime soon, possibly within the next week or two. But I do think that this thing, it's setting up for a nice bounce off this pattern here with the RSI. So I think that we'll be seeing some more strength come back to the bulls side of things here. Now, one thing that's very interesting about this is that, we have this 50 moving average kind of looming up here. And if we do see this, start to come back, start curving back down we may in fact see a death cross with this if we head down to this $35-ish level. Just my opinion. But if we do recover, you can kind of see there might be some sort of resistance right around the $62 level, $72 level. But for now, I want to just look at this thing on a grander scale. Man, we can really see that there was some nice Elliott wave theory impulses to the upside. This being one, two, there's another right in here. And so this thing may be just trying to fulfill an ABC correction at this point. I mean, I don't know if you could call, an ABC correction just yet. This might be this could be an ABC correction here, but I could also see an ABC correction acting something like this as well. So that's kind of where I'm at with Luna. This one's kind of stuck right now on this 200 moving average. And I do think that we will likely get the bounce just based off what I'm seeing. But this is one hell of a nice corrective wave that did come through and strip Luna. So let's get going here. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to check one thing. Okay. We go. What do we got here? We got Luna, Algo. We got that one taken care of. We got Seller. So let's take a quick peek at Seller and just see what's going on with it. Okay. So the last time I was looking at Seller, I was kind of speculating. I can just see that there might be a possibility for some sort of head and shoulders pattern to happen. Doesn't look like it played out, but it did turn quite bearish. So what I'm going to do here is just remove all of this stuff. Again, we can really see how this market moves in these impulse waves, folks. And this is why it's so important for you guys to learn about Elliott wave theory and stuff like that, is simply because we can see this impulse move to the upside. Now, I do think that Seller may be gearing up for a little bit of a bounce here. I want to just look at this. Yeah. So, man, this is a very nasty candle we have here on the weekly. Not something that I typically like to see. But on the weekly chart for Seller, you can see how once we start getting in close to this Ichimoku cloud, in previous instances, price has really reversed quite nicely. Now, this has been bouncing off the 50 moving average when this does happen. So now that price action is really underneath this 50 moving average and borderline underneath this Ichimoku cloud, we may in fact see this thing crumble a little bit. So bear with me while I just take a high level look at this. Man, I could see the argument be made here. Man. So right now I'm just kind of looking at this and I'm just kind of seeing, if we start from here, there might be some sort of head and shoulders pattern that could be forming here. It wouldn't surprise me, but I don't know. With that said, on this daily chart, I am thinking that price action might be coming up to retest this 50 moving average, at least somewhere in the 7-cent range. It's really having a tough time holding these 8-cent levels. Let's just look at this at a super high level here. Okay, so price action is bouncing off the 786 right now on a grand scheme of things. So I do think that if we see this thing really bounce lower than this 0.044-ish cent level, we're going to be in some trouble. With that said, this 7, 8, 9 cent area might be where we see Seller kind of head it or make its way back to. If we could do this on the daily chart, get above this Ichimoku cloud here, that would be awesome to see. But for now, we can kind of see how it is really done an ABCDE corrective wave on the daily chart at least. This is pretty evident here. So I do think that this could be gearing up for a reversal or a bounce at least up to around the 7-cent level ish for now. But if this bottom falls out, last time we had some solid support, looks like it was around 2 cents. So keep that in mind. Now let's go on to the next one. So it already did a really big correction because of the Dow dilemma that it clearing out. Okay, yeah, I know nothing about the I know nothing about the Daruma Dow at all. I don't know who's behind it, or really much information about it. I just haven't checked it out. So let's look at CKB. So I've got a feeling a lot of you guys are here for CKB. Here we go. CKB on the charts. And let's see what we got here. So we're just going to clear this. No problem, Omar. Happy to help. Let's just look at CKB at a super high level. Okay. If CKB flip-flops, like I've been saying, it's down to this penny level again, 0.011. I know you guys don't want to hear that because price has been suffering really bad the last week or two. But currently, right now with CKB, we can kind of see this is that there is somewhat of a little symmetrical triangle that is forming. And traditionally, what this means when we start to see symmetrical triangles and things of that nature is that the previous trend is likely to continue. And I do think that with CKB, as much as I love it, it's my baby, right? I do think that this thing's coming down to this 0.011-ish level, simply because, let's just look at this on a 12-hour chart. I mean, man, let's see what this looks like on the daily chart. Man, we do have a death cross that is about to happen. So on the daily chart, man, I guess you could also make the argument that the price, the damage could already be done, with this leg down. But for me, man, this is a tough one. This really is a tough one. I mean, if we do get a reversal here, price will come up to this 0.0186-ish level and really test that. But if we come down to this 61.8 level, I do think that we'll see the 786 happen right around this 0.011-ish level. So if that does happen, man, this could be setting up for a very nasty head and shoulders pattern, something like this, which will take us down to these penny levels in March, somewhere in there, maybe late March. Just really depends, folks. So this is really looking shaky. We really need CKB to make a run back up to like this 3.5 cent level. But if we start to see this, this head and shoulders area really fill out, I think it's not going to be looking too good for CKB. But we'll just have to kind of reassess things in the market as a whole when it comes, on a daily basis. This last week, folks, I really haven't been putting out a whole ton of videos like at all. I've pretty much been studying the Blender software, and I'm interested in that whole animation side of things, simply because from like a developer standpoint, when the metaverse kicks off, I want to be able to understand how these worlds get built, and they may not get built in Blender, but I got a feeling that some of them will be. With that said, You know, I just want to know at a super high level what kind of goes into that. Market's been kind of trading sideways the last few days, anyways. So it's been a great time to learn some new things. Um, so I just don't want to put out a video every day of the same thing, especially when the market's trading sideways, because I don't want to strip your time away from you guys. Yeah, so Alejandro saw the yellow Lambo. Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. That was I'll see if I can get something pulled up here for you guys. I did mess around with creating um, some other works, pretty cool stuff. Bear with me 1 second, and I'll show this to you guys. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Bear with me 1 second. Just got to figure out how to save this. I guess I can't. But anyways, bear with me 1 second here, folks. Sorry, I'm kind of stalling, but this is going to be really cool. At least I think it's going to be cool. Okay, it's not letting me open this up, unfortunately. Shoot. There is one thing here that I'm going to show you guys, though. Bear with me 1 second, and I'll show this to you guys. Here we go. This is what I want right here. Got it. So this is kind of what I've been creating here. So this is just a very short render. Just gonna make sure that you guys can see this. So this is just like a very short render that I did of an Audi on a bridge. The rendering time to create stuff like this is like insane. So I just did like a second long clip. This is very fun stuff to get into. But like I said, this was just, I'll drop a video because I did record myself kind of making this. And so I'll drop a video just to show you guys what all goes into creating stuff like this. But it's really a cool thing to latch onto, because I can also see that there might be some possibilities here to really do like NFT artwork. So I was able to just take this still image from that video that you just saw, and I mean, this is kind of a cool picture. Obviously, things are out of spec, like the proportion or the size of this car to the road. The road looks a little bit too small for this car to be on. So there's other things. There's so much fine detail that goes into that stuff, but that's kind of where I've been the last couple days, just spending a lot of time in Blender. But yeah, so I guess long story short, look for CKB to possibly make this move down to 0.011, especially if Bitcoin starts going south. So we'll get into Bitcoin here in just a second. Alejandro wants Yoke. So we will see if TradingView has Yoke. I have, oh my goodness, I am having fat fingers today. Okay. Not really getting anything on Yoke as of right now. I can try to see what's going on with the Avadex. I just can't believe how. Let's see, what do we got here? I just can't believe how how TradingView doesn't have the Yokai Swap chart up. So let's look at this at a super high level here. Obviously, this stuff's all out of whack. I need to come in here and change this stuff every single time. Bear with me 1 second while we take this high level look at Yokai. Now this does appear that Yokai is making some nice progress here to the upside. It looks like we just off January 23rd got off some lows of around 20 cents. I am not vested in Yokai Swap myself anymore. I was present for the IDO. I was lucky enough to make a ton of money off it, and then I'm just kind of waiting for the right time to buy back in. But if we just go ahead and throw up some trend lines on Yokai Swap, we can see that there may in fact be some sort of descending triangle that is forming for Yokai. And looks like this may last into around March. So I do think that right now, if Yokai Swap can kind of hold this 20-cent level or around this 20-cent level for the next month or two, we might be seeing Yokai Swap kind of set up to do one of these types of breakouts where if we can get like a triple bottom on this floor, I do think there is a good chance to see a nice breakout to the upside. So this one's definitely going to be on my radar going forward. The one thing I don't like, I love the Yokai Swap, folks. Don't get me wrong on that. But the one thing I don't like about Yokai is the, I hate when it comes to transferring assets from layer 2 to layer 1. I hate how it takes like 3 days to get your CKB back and stuff like that. Again, that's not a big deal. I'm just being really overly picky about it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that background so we can see what's going on here. Right now, price action is really reacting quite nicely with these Fibonacci extension levels. We can see that we're tangling with the 236. If we go upward again, we might in fact see 33 cents. 50% level would be about 36 cents. The 61.8 level about 40 cents. So those are some price points that you guys can kind of look out for in the coming days. We just don't have a solid, gosh, I feel so limited when I pull up these Yokai Swap charts here. I can't add time frames, anything like that in there. So we're kind of stuck with what they have available. So like this 4-hour chart, really at this point in time, I do think that Yokai might get a little bit of a bounce right up to about this 33-cent level, possibly. But with that said, if the bottom falls off, 21 cents. Let's see what we got here. 6-fig Rash Cream NFTs, man. You might have to talk to Crypto Airborne about that. The Rash Cream, he is the king of that stuff. Looks like I'll do a couple more. I'm not feeling the best today. I'm sure you guys probably noticed that the enthusiasm is just really not there. So let's really look at this at a high level. So look at Quant. I thought there's another chart I liked here. So Quant's in this interesting situation. It's at $92, $95. This thing was at 419 just back in September. So people are taking massive gains. We can see that there was some sort of Elliott wave theory movement to the upside. And with that said, this thing ran from 65 to 400. So there's a lot of money that got stripped out of the Quant ecosystem as a result of this significant price movement. Now, what we are seeing here is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this thing, this could be a nice ABC correction that did happen. And I mean, just by looking at this right now, I do feel like Quant is trading too far away from this Ichimoku cloud. I do think that we are in a very similar situation like we were right here back in December, where price went from like 150 up to 227. So I do think that there is a possibility for a little bit of a bounce to happen here. Now, I want to just pull up, I'm just going to pull up some Fibonacci here and just see what really kind of comes of it. Yeah, this is really unfortunate for Quant that it couldn't hold this $142 level. Right now, it's in price discovery mode to the downside. So let's see if we can figure that out. So right now, if we just go ahead and measure latest lows to latest swing highs dating back to December, we can really see how price action is resting on the golden ratio, 160.18. Very powerful level for price action to bounce off of, to say the least. And I think that in relation to price action to the cloud, this definitely is trading a little bit too far away from the cloud. So if I had to take a guess on where we might see Quant head to next, man, oh man, this one's a little bit of a toughie. We'll figure this out. Yeah, I would definitely say right around this $117-ish level, possibly, or even this $138 level if it can make it through that. So it did have a death cross, and that's really what blew this price action up. You see, price action just kind of came through. Boom, the death cross happened. And unfortunately, price action was already underneath this 200 when that happened. So we are seeing the full scale effects of a death cross here. It wouldn't surprise me to see this thing come back down to $83 either. So I don't know. It's on the golden ratio right now. I do think that in the short term, this thing's getting ready for a bounce. Okay, so we'll do two more, sand, and we'll do scale, and then I'm going to have to wrap it up. Sand, here we go. Okay. So I think the last time I was looking at sand, I was probably talking about how there was some sort of Elliott wave theory pattern, quite possibly to the upside, maybe. But you could really see what really did happen here was there was a very nice ascending triangle, folks, that formed, that propelled price action to the upside. Currently, we are seeing a nice ABC correction and a bounce off this 200 moving average. So I think that we may, in fact, see sand possibly come back up to retest this 50 moving average. Just a guess. Let's look at this at a super high level. Sand has been one of these cryptos that has just had a phenomenal run this year or this last year. I mean, we can look January 21st, this thing was at 4 cents. Then it ran all the way up to $8. I mean, that's just so incredible. So let's really take a nice high level look at this. Okay, so you can really see how sand came down to test this 61.8 level. This is a very powerful retracement and an extension level. But if this thing gets rejected at this 50% level again, I do think that it might be possible for sand to kind of do one of these. And you can really see how, this 50 moving average may come in really close to this 50% level. Just my guess. If price action gets rejected by that or this 50% level, I do think that it's coming back down to this $3.37-ish level, or even the 786, which is right around $1.90. But let's just go ahead and say that this thing's done retracing. And let's just say we get this bounce. Let's look at some price levels to look for to the upside. Okay, so it looks like right now on this daily chart of sand, price is really flirting with this $4.05 level, this $3.82, $5 level. I think that if we can break through this $4.05 level, this thing is going up to $5 to retest this 50 moving average, to say the least. But on the daily chart, I mean, folks, it could be looking like we do one of these Elliott wave theory moves to the upside, which would be awesome to see. Maybe retest some of these all-time highs around $8, somewhere in there. If that does happen, you guys can kind of see how there might be this argument for an inverse head and shoulders to form as well. Let's just look at one more scale. And oh boy, this thing is taking a beating. So it looks like it had highs last year, 95 cents. Now we're all the way down to 8 cents, currently trading at 11 cents. So right now with scale, it's kind of in the same similar situation to a lot of these other cryptos. There is a symmetrical triangle squeeze happening on the daily chart. So like I said, that's kind of like CKB, where when we start to see these symmetrical triangles form, it's usually a good indication that the previous price trend will continue. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but it very well could. And we may be seeing something, similar to the price action back in July of 21 currently. So it wouldn't surprise me to see maybe a little bit of a bounce here. But, the distance of this price action to this cloud, I mean, it's not too far away, but it I don't know. It could really go either way here. I'd like to ideally see this conversion line start trading sideways as well and then arc up. But it would be nice to see this price action kind of bounce up to this 16-cent-ish level. Let's just look at this, though, on a super high level. I want to really see where this thing is heading. So... okay, so if we go ahead here and throw up this little Fibonacci retracement, we can see that if the price continues to go lower, I do think that we will likely see this 7.5 cent-ish level. So there might be a 50% reduction in price here to come. I'm not really seeing much bullish stuff on the charts for scale other than maybe a minor bounce from this point in time. But I am thinking that this thing's halfway to this 127, so that might definitely happen here. Let's just give you some bullish scenarios. Let's say this thing does bounce. You maybe could see this thing, depending on if we get a little bounce to the upside, maybe if we see this 50 kind of curve like this, you could really look for right around this 15, 16 cent-ish level. So I think I am going to go ahead and wrap this up, folks. Like I said, I'm not feeling the best today. And it's just been kind of hard to really sit here for too long. So thanks, everybody, for watching. I do appreciate you guys all being here on your Sunday with me. We'll catch you guys this week. I'm going to be dropping probably about 20 videos. It's going to be an insane week for this channel, so I'm very much looking forward to all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got some big projects, some big videos that I've been working on too that just haven't really I haven't really been talking about too much, and that's kind of contributing to the lack of content on this channel the last week or two. Simply because I've got bigger projects, bigger videos that I am working on. So with that said, folks, I hope you guys all have a beautiful day wherever you're at in the world, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. There's going to be, like I said, a lot of videos being dropped this week, so we'll see you later.